No one had ever told me, don't peek, don't explore, or look at yourself. No one had ever forbidden me to explore the shape of my yoni, or track my shape and change over time. It just had never occurred to me. It had never occurred to me to love myself that way. It wasn't until I met an exquisite artist who had sewn a red tent big enough for women to gather inside. And she invited a small group of us in there. She met us at the threshold with papers and pencils, a small candle, and a hand mirror. We went inside and laid down on the floor with our heads in the middle, our legs pointed outside and spread open, drawing the shape of our yonis. It was an awkward position, and honestly, I was underwhelmed by the relaxed shape of my lips and the neutral color. When we were finished, we were invited into a kind of intimate show and tell, where any woman who wanted to could show her yoni to the rest of the group. I was overcome with a terrorizing story that someone would break in and arrest us, grown women, for showing our genitalia to one another. But what I remember most about that night was the courageous beauty that I witnessed. I saw women who had shapes of Gothic cathedrals, erotic orchids, tinted vestibules with folded skin, hiding shy clits. When I think about that night, I'm still overcome with awe. I didn't continue to peek at myself. I just assumed if I was giving and receiving pleasure, I was good. But 2 years into my menopausal journey, I started experiencing pain and burning that no amount of coconut oil would solve. And then after missing multiple doctor's visits, my best friend said she'd go with me to the gynecologist because she knew I hate going to the doctor. I was assigned a male doctor at the clinic, and when I walked into his office, I rebelliously walked past that table with that crinkly, uncomfortable paper and the daunting metal stirrups, and I sat on the couch. And he sauntered in, he hopped up on the table, leafed through my chart, and said, it's normal. It's normal for women in menopause to experience burning and pain during intercourse. It's normal for women who've had children to cough or sneeze and pee on themselves. It's normal for women as they age to lose connection with their body. It's normal for women to have these experiences down there. As soon as he said that, I stopped listening. Did he say down there? He's a doctor. Didn't he know how to pronounce vagina, vulva, labia, the place where life comes through, your special spot, anything? He continued on to tell me that if I lathered some estrogen cream on myself and do a few kegels, I'd be just fine. And then he asked me if I wanted to have a physical exam. I said, no, thank you. I did not come here to be normal. I left his doctor's office without a prescription and without his advice. But then outside, sitting in my girlfriend's car, I was slumped over in a blanket of yuck. Sex was just starting to get good. I could finally make love without worrying about getting pregnant. And now, Western medicine had diagnosed my pussy as a dried flower that was blowing across the arid tundra. I felt ashamed. Ashamed to be a woman, ashamed to be an aging woman who still wanted to have juicy, pleasurable intimacy. Luckily, I brought my girlfriend with me. She recommended I get a second opinion. She knew of a female doctor with 20 years of experience and a really good reputation. So weeks later, I ended up in her office. Same daunting examining table, but those metal stirrups at the end had Dr. Seuss mitts covering them. And when she walked in, she wanted to know about my menopausal journey, and she listened more than talked. And then finally she said, "Want to take a peek?" She enlisted my girlfriend to hold a very large mirror. It was bigger, twice as big as a car rear view mirror, which I thought was overkill, but it did give me just the right angle to see my yoni. The doctor said, "You see those purple edges around your labia? That's a sign of atrophy, lack of hormones and circulation. If left unattended, your skin will become paper thin and tear very easily." She also recommended the estrogen cream. I said, I had done my research, and I had heard that estrogen cream can get soaked up through my partner's cock, and he goes limp and has no desire for sex. She said she had never heard a story like that before. There was so little estrogen in the cream. As long as I didn't apply it before lovemaking, I was all good. So, between her and my girlfriend, I agreed to try it for a 3-month period, where I was religious about applying the cream. Back in her office, 3 months later, we gathered around my yoni and celebrated. I was diagnosed pink and plump. "How long do I have to keep using this cream, though?" She said, "As long as I have a vagina." And then I got curious. Is there anything else I need to know to stay healthy and ensure a long life of pleasure? She said, "Orgasms. With myself or another, it increases circulation." And that was the best diagnosis I've ever gotten from a doctor.